All right. So again, thanks for taking the time. I'm here with ArkDev and the Rendezvous Equity team. Got Matthew and Jack on the call today. So Matthew and I did a thread that really went viral a couple of weeks ago, just talking about all the good stuff that's happening with NFT Worlds. And we wanted to do a follow-up thread and really talk about some of the more valuation-driven items and really understand the token specifically. So sure. you put the tokenomics on the supply side are super clear, and we wanted to try to understand the other side of it in terms of how is the demand going to be impacted? Are people, there's a ton of supply, people are going to be playing games, people are going to be staking, there's just going to be, the supply side is clear, it's going to be a lot of tokens being distributed. But who's going to be buying this besides the speculators who are expecting, have a major FOMO and think it's going to be the next Axie or whatever. So just wanted to talk to some of those items with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to answer any questions.
So you've mentioned that there's going to be the faucet for people who are going to be having the game. So maybe you can talk to us a little bit about how do you envision that working to start with.
Right. Yeah, so we want to have game experiences across all these different NFT worlds where players can come in, they can play different games in exchange for, completing different quests, winning, say, like PvP arena battles. Maybe it's a racing world where like you run a racing event, stuff like that. You earn some world token, and that's usable across all the different interconnected economies of all these worlds. The way these worlds get access to that faucet to give rewards is there's two things. So we will have an internal review process where it's basically just making sure like, okay, the systems and the games that a world has made that wants access to the faucet, are they bottable? Are they gameable? Can they be exploited in any way that could be concerning? And then if not, we're going to require them to stake a fairly large amount of world token against their world in such a way where in the future, if any other world owner via the governance model that we're making or ourselves find that, hey, this world is doing something that is in violation of the standards we have in place and is clearly like misusing the appropriation of funds, the governance DAO can vote to slash that staked amount of world, which, being a significant amount, you obviously would not want that to happen. And therefore you're incentivized to use things in the correct way. And if they would get slashed, let's say that the staked amount would have to be 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 world, depending on the scale of which they have access to the faucet. And that part is still being figured out. But in the event they're slashed, that token goes back into the rewards pool. They lose their token and they get shut off from access to the faucet for doing a violation.
That's a pretty significant
penalty. So you don't want to do something negative that's going to affect the network and of the world token usage. And if you do, it's going to hurt. Right.
Are there any formula that you've set up so far on how the 50% pool of P2E rewards is going to be distributed?
Yeah, we have, there are people much smarter than me on our team that have significant experience in DeFi over the last years. They've been doing calculations on like the more deep tokenomics side related to that play to earn faucet and how we can best and fairly distribute it and creating models around that. I don't have them yet, but I think we'll probably do some announcements with like a really deep dive around that. Probably in a week or two when I get those sort of final reports and suggestions from that part of the team.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Matthew, you got a question? Go ahead.
No, I mean, I was going to ask, I'm not sure if you're done with your questions, Malik, but I was just going to ask, you mentioned the staking on a tweet that world owners will be required to stake this world token in order to gain access to the faucet.
Yep.
And then I believe you mentioned further in that tweet, this is the first of, many announcements.
Yeah.
Are these announcements, have they already been thought out? Do you have a plan for them? And are you just waiting to release these at a on a scheduled basis?
Right. So staking the world token to access the faucet, 100% going to happen. Like that's the system we want to use. The incentives are clear there. It makes sense for controlling it. There are other staking mechanisms for world that we want to put in place, and they tie back to different things related to securing the ecosystem, and maintaining like the economic layer of it. But we haven't gotten to a place with these other systems yet where we feel comfortable like announcing or speaking to them. It's just, I guess basically what you guys should know is like there's going to be other uses for world staking. We don't want to just be like, oh, you stake and you get some yield from it and nothing else happens. Like we want it to be beneficial to the whole network and the system. And that's how we're thinking about staking in general. But there will be more than just staking the token to a world for faucet access.
Right. Okay, that's awesome. And then as far as because maybe I also may have misunderstood the tweet, but I think you also mentioned there will be more announcements as far as utility goes for the world token.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So this is the first, like the staking of the token for the faucet. This is the first of many as far as utility goes.
Yeah,
there's speak on those.
Yeah, that is correct. There's going to be a lot more utility we build around the world token. One that I can give you guys for right now is like, we kind of briefly talked about this. I don't know if we made a full single announcement around it, but like world owners can choose wherever they want to host like their world servers, for example. Part of that is like, we're going to offer a quick turnkey service. If like you don't want to go to a service provider like OVH or Apex Hosting to host like your world server, or you can just do it from the world manager and you pay that using world token, and that just gets held in the balance, stuff like that. Some more utility, so you can pay your server bills using it. There'll be other things related to that on the world owner side, where utility, depending on the different utility that they're doing, it's all tied back to the world token. Everything we do, I guess, it's tied back to the world token, and that's how we've intended to build it.
And those costs, sorry, just to add to that, those costs like for the server and all, in a rental situation, who's paying that? Is the owner paying that? Is the renter paying those expenses?
The renter would be paying those expenses with world token, separate from the initial rental fee that they're already paying for access to the world.
Is there a timing on that when that's being released?
For renting and staking?
Yeah.
Yeah. We think it's going to be this week because I've been pressing Certic to finally. So that we have the preliminary report, which is basically all the findings, and like we released that on like Discord via announcements. But we wanted them to give like the official, like, yes, we reviewed this. Yes, we gave them the stamp of approval thing on their website, like plain and clear, just so that people are comfortable and like know that yes, Certic is giving their official stamp. And I've been pushing them to finish that, and I don't know if they're just super busy, but like on our dashboard for it's called Sky Harbor, it's just been like pending final report publishing, and they've been like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it, and I'm just like, okay, can you hurry up?
That could happen this week, and then the airdrop's going to be next week.
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing that after for sure, right? You're not doing the airdrop before?
Yes, the airdrop, we said it's the end of the month. Like, I think we announced a date or something in Discord. If it wasn't me, it was another one of the team members. But yeah, like literally the end of the month is the snapshot date. So February 28th.
So Monday.
I think. Yeah. So that'll be the snapshot, and then you can expect a claim within like 24 hours once that snapshot's taken.
Awesome. And okay, so then is it definitely the plan that staking should come before the airdrop, or is the airdrop going to be fixed at the end of the month, even if staking isn't live?
Yeah, the airdrop's scheduled for the 28th. My whole week, the only thing on my plate this week is pushing Certic to finish. That's like the only critical thing, is pushing them to get this audit like published. And as soon as that happens, like staking will go live. So like I'm gonna make sure it gets out this week, even if I'm calling them like every hour to finish up for a point of contact there.
Right. I mean, worst case, it really doesn't need to be this week, I guess.
Yeah.
If it came to the situation where it wasn't this week, would you push back the airdrop?
I don't think so. it would still be at the same time. But like I said, like when it comes to development and timeline, I'm very impatient and I always want us to get it done sooner than later. And this has been irritating for me. And so, yeah, I'm basically transferring that irritation to them to finish it up and get it done.
It's funny, as a community, we love the way you just like, you know, you'll be like, yeah, I mean, we'll have this at some point, and then it's like 2 days later, like, yeah, it's you know, and like, and everyone, you know, and everyone freaks out in the Discord reaction, like, you
Yeah.
see how many reactions it gets. It's like, so this one in particular, I'm sure it's so frustrating for you because you do like to just deliver on time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think like just to that, coming from doing startups and like over like the last decade, there's always sometimes something that comes up where it's like, oh, we didn't meet timeline. And that's why I'm like, okay, like we don't want to be super explicit and tight on deadlines if we can be, but everything that we've been building for the most part has been like, oh yeah, there's been no hiccups. So it's like, it just releases and people are like, wait, what? You just announced this like 2 days ago. And it's like, yeah, we didn't hit any hiccups. So it's done.
Yeah, it's awesome.
A side note, people wonder if you sleep.
Yeah, I do. I try to get 6 to 8 hours a day. We have a really good team. Like the engineers with specific domain expertise in areas from smart contracts to like front end web development to like Java side for the Minecraft layers that we're building and the Java layers. They're all really talented, and our team's not bloated in the sense that we have dense knowledge base in single individuals in the way that like there's not slowdown from having to cross communicate across a big team like you see in a big tech company. And this is how I built all my startups in the past. It's like we get the best people, we keep the team lean so people can like hyper focus and really work through stuff quickly, and it works at this scale.
I also wanted to just kind of touch back on the utility of the coin, but not just the utility of the coin, kind of like the overall economy.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously with Axie Infinity, Jack and I have a lot of experience there. We were there for the rise in the fall, and so we kind of understand how these play to earn economies work. And so basically it really comes down to adding these sinks in the economy, but not just sinks in a meaningless way where it's kind of like a Band-Aid type of thing, but really the analogy Jack and I like to use and think of is like, if you go to the carnival and spend $5 on the Ferris wheel, you're willing to spend that $5 because you're getting enjoyment out of the Ferris wheel. Right. So as long as a player is spending $5 in world coin to use the world coin in the game to get enjoyment out of it and not necessarily looking to earn more money than the $5 they put in, then this is a healthy economy.
Yep, exactly.
If it's the case, obviously, where they're putting in the $5 and expecting to earn 10, this creates an unhealthy economy. So we kind of want to understand what's your overall thinking on, you know, how to add meaningful sinks in the economy, to position it in a way where users are getting this enjoyment and not just looking to earn money.
This touches on a little bit of why I think we are so specific in wanting to use Minecraft as a development platform instead of building our own game, right? Because like building your own game is very difficult, and making something that millions of players will enjoy for a long period of time consistently is even harder. Very few games in history have done this. Minecraft is probably the outlier that has, where people just keep coming back, 100 million plus players, and they play without getting any compensation. So it's like, we know all the very fun proving game systems. They're all open source plugins for game mods and whatnot, just as like a base layer. So like we take those and then we add the spend mechanisms on top, and all of these verified builders who have built extremely engaging games on the Minecraft marketplace over the last like 3 to 5 years. They know how to make great games and they know what players already play. So like they're taking that experience of being like official Microsoft Minecraft partners, bringing it into NFT Worlds, making that same caliber or greater of great games just because they have access to greater liquidity to fund it now. And then they throw the play to earn layer on top. So it's like a double hit of like fantastic game experience that they have the experience making, because players who were just playing for free on the Minecraft marketplace already liked it. And then you add play to earn and spending on top for even greater utility in those games. And we think it's a winning formula, but we have yet to see.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's absolutely true as far as Minecraft's concerned. Like it's growing year over year, obviously over the past however long, and people definitely come, you know, for the entertainment value that they're getting.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think out loud, like with the whole play to earn economy, just the way it's currently structured with the faucet will be kind of paying out players. And so this will obviously attract your initial wave of regular Minecraft players, but also, kind of your crypto type of players, maybe even scholars, and I'm just trying to think, like, once the faucet kind of dries out, and I know it's a 5-year period, who and how is this all going to be funded by, and how is it sustainable?
Exactly. The goal and the reason for 5 years is we think 5 years is a long enough timeline with how fluidly we're trying to approach development and nurturing of that economy, to create one that's self-sustaining. Like, you look at great games historically that have like strong game economies. I think World of Warcraft is probably a good example. RuneScape might be one, but there's some things there that I don't like. But once you get like an in-game value-driven economy running, where it's like players use the economy from the enjoyment aspect rather than just like, I'm trying to extract value out of the system and not reuse it in the system, it should self-sustain. And the goal within the 5 years is to maximize that economic system towards that goal as much as possible. That's sort of where we're thinking of things. It's fluid as we go. And like, we're very focused on, if we need to, we will iterate on the economic layers or any of the incentives where necessary within reason. But yeah, I think just knowing that like the goal is to get it to that place of players don't necessarily just want to take value out of the system. They want it to continue cycling within the system because they just enjoy the games.
Right. And on top of this, can you speak to some, like, I guess, buy pressure for users? Because, on the other hand of it, it's like the faucet will be paying out players, and players will add this downward pressure to the coin, because if they're earning money, they might want to use it and sell it. But if there's enough buy pressure coming in, it should balance it out. But where will this buy pressure come from?
Yeah, I think players are, like, in a similar regard, going to also be that pressure, because I expect, like, if we think about how big is the player base of Minecraft, it's 140 million people. How many players could we realistically expect to move into adopting the ecosystem, like, at scale? Like, even if that number is 1%, 0.5%, that's a significant amount of people. That's like a million plus people. And we know, like, how avid Minecraft gamers are in general. Like, they play frequently, they play high hours, they play a lot. And the ones that are playing on servers, they're not playing just like base Minecraft, they're playing all these different game modes. And with the utility you get from spending World Token, I can only imagine that players will want access to content and usability, probably at a rate that is more than their earning token. And again, this also comes down to what are the economic price points that we see sort of set across these different worlds? Like, how much World Token are people pricing to get access to specific content? Like, is there really exclusive content that everyone loves? It's more expensive, and say it would take like a couple hours of playtime to access, but someone may just want to jump in, and so they go and get some World Token, stuff like that. And again, it's another one of those things where we think it'll be a fluid system where we'll have to see how it plays out in the very early initial uses of spending World Token to see, like, okay, is there enough incentive to drive the proper balance of, that pressure on the buy sell?
Right. Can I just pick up on the Minecraft piece for a second? Because I spoke with the Critters founder this week, and they said that, they have a different setup. They're not finding a lot of Minecraft users yet coming on to the their game.
Have you seen our SMP test server?
No, I haven't. So I wanted to ask you, as
Okay.
the people that are on right now, what are the data that you can share as far as who's coming on?
These are like 95% of them are non-crypto Minecraft gamers. They're people that are hearing from Minecraft streamers, or if seeing friends playing and earning World Token, and they're like, I love like survival multiplayer. I want to come play this, especially if I'm earning this token too, that I'm going to be able to use in some games in the future. And like, if you even try to join our SMP server right now, like, it supports 500 people playing it at one time, but we have a queue that is like, a queue is basically you sit in line like in game waiting for a spot to hop in and start playing, and that's 2,500 additional people. So the test server, which has always been a test, like we can scale this up and we will be very soon, but we've just been testing like load and stuff internally. There's 3,000 people pretty much all the time, and you're lucky if you can even join the server because the queue itself is full too, and people are waiting, just regular Minecraft gamers waiting hours and hours to play.
Okay.
And yeah, they're like all Minecraft gamers. It's crazy.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Okay, that is very encouraging. Yeah. Okay. So there'll be usage for buying content in games. What else? There are some games projects that are going to actually mint with the world. Are you hearing a lot of that?
Yep. Yeah. So this is like where the open-ended side of the community is coming in and creating their own utility on world. Like there's some projects that are minting with world token, which is awesome. And then as far as like the usage in game, you can think of pretty much spending world token like you would in any like MMORPG or like massive multiplayer online game. It's just like the in-game currency. Like so long as there are things to be used, consumables, items, upgrades, equipment, like visual items, stuff like that, there's going to be those usages for spending world token to access that for whatever combination of that the different worlds provide.
Epic. I also want to ask, have you considered any types of burn mechanisms for the coin?
Yep. Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Were you saying something?
No, like, have you considered it and does it make sense for this? Like, I just want to hear your overall thoughts.
We talk about it a lot internally. I think it's one of those things where at this time we don't feel it's necessary just because we want to start to see the initial use case of the coin in like all the different worlds. If we feel it becomes necessary and there's a mechanism that we come up with relative to the usage in the ecosystem that makes sense, we will implement a burn mechanism. It's not out of the question, but it's more just one of those fluid elements where it's like we can pull that lever for a use case that makes sense if we need to, but we're not at this point anticipating a strong need to pull the lever. But it's fluid, so like we'll see.
Right, makes sense.
You had also mentioned in one of your tweets about large communities and projects contacting you about the gasless transactions. Yeah. Is there any path for communities that are not on NFT Worlds to start using the world token?
I mean, it's an open-ended token. They can, like, just how you're seeing people implement it for minting an NFT using world, like they can use world for whatever they want. So like, we're not preventing that. We're even like on the website, we have world token APIs that are coming out that are intended for like website specific, for projects, for NFT World, for projects using NFT Worlds and have like a website implementation where they want to use world token, like these libraries are for that. But people can use world token for these things as well that they may want to implement for just the gasless transaction side. And we may see an entire ecosystem just around the tech utility there that isn't really available otherwise. I'm not sure, like it's not a huge immediate focus of ours, but like there's so much demand and interest on it. The primary interest is like within the game economy and the ecosystem, like all these projects were wanting to bring their own tokens into a game, but there's so much friction around needing gas, people needing to figure out how to use a wallet if they're non-crypto traditional, or if they're traditional gamers without crypto experience. And it's just like, they all convert to the world token because they realize like, oh, this solves all these problems that have been preventing a bridge from just general gaming to crypto.
It's really awesome. I could definitely see the scenario playing out where like world is just the token, the play to earn gaming token.
Maybe, yeah.
For a lot of reasons, it makes sense, and so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I do have a question, Malik. If you still have more questions on world, then ask. But I do have questions not related to the token. So before I ask those, you guys have?
Yeah, no, I think we've covered the token pretty well. So
cool.
Go to NFT Worlds in general.
Yeah, I wanted to ask just one kind of overall question, how the relationship with the Microsoft team is now that obviously you guys blew up.
Yeah.
You know,
Nothing's
right?
changed. Yeah,
They
I
don't-
mean,
yeah. Sorry.
they still, yeah, you're good. Nothing's changed. The last time we talked to them, they were asking questions about like people ripping off some other assets related to Halo. It was like, it's interesting. I don't know if it's related to like they're seeking domain experts outside of internally, just because it's so new, like NFTs plus gaming and like how it ties to existing brand assets. And so they're talking to us. But on the Minecraft side, like the last pushback type of thing we had was we had some people that were copying like worlds. They were basically going onto like Planet Minecraft, like downloading a world and like using mods and plugins to edit it into like an NFT world and then try and resell it. And they're like, can you guys do something about this? And we're like, yeah, we can, you know, put some checks on the world uploader system. And we did that like within 6 hours and we sent it back to them. They're super happy. Like, oh, cool, no problem. Sounds great. So that's like our relationship. Anytime they raise something, we immediately address it. And like anytime they have questions, we try to be as helpful as possible. And so it's been a really like good relationship so far.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Matt, you mind if I jump in on this front?
Yeah, definitely.
So, so your relationship is obviously very good with them right now. Thinking into the future, do you have the concern that you guys just continue on this trajectory and get so big and worlds are trading at 50 ETH or whatever it is, and these Minecraft guys just look at you guys and then they're like, yeah, it's great that we're benefiting because like more people are downloading the game and obviously they pay the $26 every time they download the game.
Yep.
Do you think it ever reaches a point where you guys are so big and they're just like, okay, like you guys are making millions and we want, and we're making money too, but if you guys are making more, like we want a
Yep.
cut of that, and how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, I mean, we're always, if that were to happen where they're like, hey, we will give you guys like official stamp of approval partnership, which if they've ever done for anyone, I don't think they actually have, like, we'd be like, oh, sure, like we're happy to do a license deal that's fair and makes sense. But at that situation where I think that would probably goes, and probably with Microsoft's strategy and knowing their internal politics, it would probably move more towards like an acquisition or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, I don't, we're open to it for sure, but like, I think it would probably go the other way with an acquisition on their end.
Right. So thinking about the possibility of an acquisition, do you think a potential hurdle there might be like, I feel like usually when these big companies, like they do a token, they'll spend like, I don't know, millions of dollars on lawyers, and it's this whole like 6-month process where I think you guys kind of got it together quicker. So do you think the structure of the token could be a potential hurdle in an acquisition where they have to like redo the token, or do you know any idea how that would play out? Or
It's a good question. That's probably more one for like our legal counsel. As far as I know, our stance with the token right now, like as people have seen, like we don't reach out to centralized exchanges. We don't do anything related to price or listing or whatever. And we don't even give like links on the official website to go buy. The reason being is, should there ever be like a questioning by the SEC, what happens is we're basically in the stance of the WRLD token is just a game token. We use a blockchain layer, which is a decentralized database, in order to store representations of balances of that token in game. But as far as liquidity goes, like we don't tell people where to go pay or cash out or anything like that. We don't talk about like, here's this exchange or whatever, or we're listing on wherever, like Gemini or something like that. We don't do that. However, like with crypto, you can't control community and the open source nature of this. Like they're creating their own liquidity pools and they're creating their own like submissions to exchanges, which like you can't do anything. And if you think back sort of like, if you ever played RuneScape or World of Warcraft back in the day, like there is no way in game, and like they didn't advertise that you could buy gold or coin or token, at least back in the days when I played. But there's always secondary markets on eBay where you could go pay like $15 and get some wild gold, and it's kind of the same thing.
Right. So you may not know the answer to this, but just thinking through it, like from an acquisition standpoint, if like they wanted to get involved, would they need a token that is able to trade on a centralized marketplace? And in that case, maybe that you guys would have to like redo the token. I'm just kind of thinking this through.
Oh, yeah. No, I think what would happen is they would take the extra step, which at some point in time we could, of going through the significant legal hurdles
Right,
for the
right.
token to be able to then be priced,
Yeah.
right? Like that's a step that can be done. And we're just at the point of like, that takes way more than what we're capable of like doing, or at this
Yeah.
point in time, at least.
Got it. Makes sense. Matt, you have anything else on that front?
I have another question with regards to just Microsoft in general, Minecraft in general, and the relationship. It's more like assuming worst case, assuming for whatever reason there was some disgruntled higher up and who just said, you know, screw this project, let's take it all down. And, you know, and I know we spoke once and you mentioned the fact that should it be at the point where it's a fully decentralized situation, you know, like they can't really, like, even if they were to issue a cease and desist, we'll stop, but like it'll still, you know, kind of run itself in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a possibility for them to kind of like ban the 10,000 seeds or something like that? I only ask because I'm not so Minecraft.
Yeah. I don't think so. There's, as far as my experience within the ecosystem and the way everything is set up and how the open source nature of like our launcher and things are going to work out, there's not really a way for them to necessarily assert that kind of control. And I think part of the thing too is like with this relationship, my intuition says that their team may realize this a bit. With the decentralized nature, it's better to have a party that's answering and compliant with you than to have one that say they're like, oh, cease and desist by NFT Worlds. And then there's this sudden humongous vacuum void of people who are like, that project was super successful. Now there's an opening for someone to just copy it, but we're going to stay anonymous and not tell like anyone who we are. And then Microsoft has no control at all. And it's like, we're super compliant. Like we want to work with them. So it's a better situation.
Right.
Well
Makes
said.
sense.
Well said for sure. Yeah.
Are they in regular contact with you or just when something comes up there?
It's, yeah, there's nothing like in writing. There's nothing official. It's just like a constant dialogue with the IP enforcement team and the lead of the IP enforcement team who we get along with well and we talk to semi-frequently. He probably pings us like at least every 2 to 3 weeks, just like either questions about NFTs or just like kind of anything.
Right.
Do you have any sense for their plans or anything with the Activision acquisition, which obviously is not approved yet, but is that changing their view on what they're doing internally?
So like, I know that internally, I think the guy's name is Phil Spencer, runs most of the Xbox game strategy there. I'm sure you saw like in the Activision acquisition, he mentioned some things about metaverse and like Minecraft metaverse, like all their different metaverses. I think they're thinking about like, what does metaverse mean in the sense of 5 to 10 years from now? Internally, I know Microsoft's game studios are heavily investing and ramping up more on that side of like their business of just games in general. And I think they want to be ahead of the curve on this idea of metaverse. As far as Activision and whatnot goes, I don't know what their actual execution is going to look like yet, but I imagine crypto and Web3 starts to come into the picture eventually. But again, one of the other hurdles that they, as like AAA game publishers across their studios, are going to have to deal with, as you guys may know, is like a lot of gamers in general right now are not warmed up to the idea of crypto and NFTs. Like many of them actually like completely hate crypto and NFTs and think it's terrible. And you've probably seen like AAA game studios be like, oh, we're launching an NFT or like a crypto coin attached to a game, and people just freak out. They're like, no, we hate you. We're leaving your game.
Yeah.
So it's easier to let a third-party project come in and be like, okay, you guys can take all the friction early on and all the potential like, you know, attacks from gamers in general as they kind of experience and play the product. We don't take any brand risk. And if it works out, you guys scale up, you get to the point where you've solved the kind of void, and in our case, the Minecraft ecosystem of players to crypto and the usage relation in the context of a game. And at that point, we're humongous scale, and like it just makes sense to partner, license, or acquire.
Right.
Do you have any sense for what you're expecting of how much Minecraft revenue will be generated through NFT Worlds of new users who download the game?
Yeah, I don't know. It could be really significant. I mean, that's a question. I don't know the answer. I don't really have an answer to that, but I'm very curious to see what that looks like. Yeah.
Also, what that's gonna look like in a couple months, because like you're saying, you're saying you have a couple thousand waiting in the queue now, and it's barely
Yeah.
even live yet, right? So
Yeah.
be
We-
interesting.
We think the player
Sure.
base will go ballistic once we have, more play to earn worlds online that are coming online in weeks, if not sooner.
Yeah, me and Matt, the analogy we keep drawing is we kind of see this as the app store, right? You guys get
Mhm.
potential to be the app store, and like all these new projects minting on World, they're like the apps, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So once the staking and renting is done and the airdrop's done, what's next on
Mm.
teams working on, or what can you tell us?
Yep. The big thing right now is we're doing this in parallel, but it's a very big focus. It's the developer tooling, the ecosystems for developers to build faster, to be able to integrate more deeply into the blockchain side of things. And then building just off the shelf plugins and layers for different use cases that people might want in their world so that they can quick start on certain types of functionality. That could be things like basic plot splitting, and people can buy plots in a world in exchange for paying world token, and like other plugins for like creating a first-person shooter game within an NFT world, just like these implementations that give developers a fast start on the types of games you might want to see, such that the content then is released sooner and they have a proven like baseline to go off of. Faster content release means presumably more things to do, which ideally we think will help grow the ecosystem so long as they're implemented in a way that is fun and engaging. Yeah.
Any update on the Gray Boys or how that's going to integrate into gameplay?
Yeah, the Gray Boys are the first playable. So the first playable models within NFT Worlds, if you want to look different in NFT Worlds, if you have a Gray Boy, you'll have access to a custom model. That comes with the release of our launcher. So for context, for people who don't know what a launcher is, in Minecraft, if you've ever played Minecraft, prior to getting into the actual game, you have like this screen. It says like play with a big button, and it has like some Minecraft news and maybe some settings and stuff on the side. So third-party projects that get big within the Minecraft ecosystem often make their own launcher. And a launcher can pre-package client-side mods and plugins to extend the baseline functionality of Minecraft beyond what it already supports. And so that gives us the ability to add like custom player models, custom graphics, custom shaders, all of these different things, and just like take the game from baseline Minecraft platform to like the NFT worlds layered on top of it and everything that we have. But yeah, once that's out, once that launcher's out, we have the ability to then do models. We then have the ability to give other partnered projects the way to implement their NFT models into NFT worlds so you can play as your NFTs. And yeah, it kind of goes from there, and that's Gray Boys relative to NFT worlds. That's what they're going to get access to.
How does it work for a third-party project to have their model in game? Does it need to be manually done, or is it kind of just a simple?
It's it will have to be made in a specific file format that's compatible with us. We have projects that we're already talking with that are getting guidelines now because they want to be some of the first to be in there once that launches. So, yeah.
Awesome. And then I assume it's just a simple wallet connect from the user's end?
Yeah, you don't even have to wallet connect. I mean, yeah, you do. Sorry. We launched, I don't know if you saw, it's the player account page. It's like you go to NFTworld/login and it lets you tie your wallets to your Minecraft username. And in doing that, like your wallet's associated across all the worlds, and then joining like via the launcher, if a wallet's connected to your player account, you can verify and connect any of those skins or models from your NFTs owned that are compatible just straight to your character. Very easy.
Awesome.
Frictionless.
Yeah, that's everything we're trying to do.
Everything is frictionless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. This is really so awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're excited too. It's just trying to develop faster and faster. It's the main thing is just time.
So on the regulatory side, I remember you did mention one request I had was not to do like in-game advertising or something along that nature. I'm trying to remember the exact wording.
Yep.
But would it be legal for, let's say, one of us brought in a brand kind of like on our own initiative to like make a world or something like that, as opposed to you bringing them in? Is that something that is allowed, or?
The big thing, as far as we understand the policy that Microsoft asked us to uphold, is like, if, for example, you are Disneyland or you're partnered with Disneyland and you're trying to incentivize people to play in a world like Disneyland, and ideally indirectly trying to advertise Disneyland to them so they pay to buy tickets to Disneyland,
Right.
that kind of stuff is not good.
Got it.
If you have a world that's entirely just like Samsung branding and it's like Samsung product brochures and literally straight advertising, not
Got
good. Ultimately, it is subjected to the discretion of what the Minecraft enforcement team related to advertising says. And we just go off of kind of those guidelines.
Got it. Good answer. My other question is, I know you like tease like NFT Worlds marketplace. I'm curious if you could hint anything what that might look like or ideas. Or...
I think if you're talking marketplace, like some people have been talking about marketplace, like, oh, make an OpenSea competitor that leverages World Token or something like that. And we're like, that's a lot of work.
Right.
And also kind of detached from the core focus of the project right now. If we're talking about a marketplace for items specifically compatible across different NFT worlds, one of the developer tools and layers that worlds are going to have access to soon is the ability to do minting of items to player wallets in game. So like, let's say a player defeats a boss, gets like some rare sword or something like that, that's representational as an NFT within the world. It's a unique item. The layer would allow like a server to then submit a gasless transaction that is using the world token as a fee to mint an NFT on the Polygon network that's representational of that sword earned to the earning player's wallet. And those items then could then be traded on a Polygon-based NFT Worlds item marketplace across players between all these different worlds. That's something we're thinking about, and we think it'd be really cool related to marketplace, if you're thinking about marketplace like that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You guys have anything?
No, not
One last thing on World. I know you talked about no exchanges, but is there any, do you know if it's going to come on to any other exchanges, or are you guys staying out of that?
Yeah, we're like, we have to be completely out of it. If it does, it's news to us, and like, we didn't have our hand in it, because obviously they can choose to do what they want to do. If they pick it up, they pick it up, but we're not the ones reaching out or talking to them at all.
Pulling. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else, guys?
Appreciate the time. I think
Thank you guys.
we're extremely bullish coming in. I think I think we're even more bullish. It's really it's great to see you have a handle on both like the vision and the regulatory and everything. Is it seems like you really thought it through. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, one thing you brought up today, the learn to earn, that was pretty fun. Is that going to take some traction, or is that
Farouk? I'm apologizing. Sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. But yeah, he and I have been DMing, and I think there's something really cool that could be made between us, between Rug Radio and like the education platform they want to make, and like integrating learn to earn into it. Learn to earn is just like an idea. It's like, oh, that could be actually really cool, like an education-based model for earning within like the Worlds ecosystem. And then lo and behold, other people, I think like 3 or 4 projects reached out and like, oh, we're making a learn to earn idea for this. And then Rug Radio is like, oh, we're considering this. And it's just like, whoa, people are thinking about stuff that like, we're just like, oh, that'd be cool. And lo and behold, they've already been building it.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
That's really cool. Ark, thank you so much. Really, you're amazing, and we really appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you guys. I don't know if you're going to publish this video. If you do, we can retweet it, just because I think other people might find it helpful. So.
Yes, as long as you're okay with it.
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
Awesome.
Again, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
And
Thank
keep building.
See you guys later.
See ya.
See ya.